something that you can implement today to make you a better leader, a better parent, a better spouse, a better partner, a better employee, a better employer, a better manager. And it's really pretty simple, but it does take some practice, and it takes the ability to check your ego at the door. That's going to be the most challenging part of this powerful little strategy. You ask a simple question: on a scale of 1 to 10, how is our blank? And you can fill in the blank. So as an example, you could ask your clients, if you're a business owner, how are we doing with our customer service on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being we couldn't do any better, 1 being holy cow, we suck. They're going to give you a number. Now, if the number is anything less than a 10, this is where you check your ego at the door, and then what you're going to do is you're going to have a follow-up question that's going to say, what would it take to make it a 10? This is a great example of, again, how you can go out and get feed forward, as my friend Mike Jones calls it, feed forward on how you can improve anything or everything in your life, especially with those closest to you. You could go ask people that are answering to you in your corporation or your business on a scale of 1 to 10, how am I doing being a leader? And now again, brace yourself, because when you don't get that 10, you want to go back and ask them, what would it take to make it 10? And here's the really cool part. They're going to tell you exactly what they need for you to be a 10. As a boss, as a leader, as a manager, as a coworker, as a spouse, as a parent, as a teacher, whatever it may be, whatever you want to be better at, as a service provider to your clients, all kinds of things. You can use this everywhere. I want to share a brief story with you. I was married, and when I was married and I learned this question, I went to my wife and I said, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how am I doing as your husband? She said, you're a 7. I was a little surprised, but I didn't get upset. I didn't go to that place where I said, you can never make a woman happy. I simply asked, what would it take to make it a 10? And she was pretty straightforward with me. She said, we've got some agreements and you've been violating them. We've got an agreement that you're going to take the garbage out on a regular basis to the garage, and that you're going to take the garbage out to the street on Mondays when garbage is picked up. You haven't been doing that. I've been doing it. I said, anything else? She said, yeah. We also have an agreement that you're going to help load and unload the dishwasher, and you haven't been doing that. You also promised that you're going to help load and unload and do laundry, and you haven't been doing that. And I asked, is there anything else? And she said no. And so at that point, what I did was I got busy with the garbage, I got busy with the dishes, I got busy with the laundry. About 3 or 4 weeks later, I went back and I said, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how am I doing as your husband? She said, well, you're a 10. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. And don't you want to be a 10? Because when you want to go have some fun or do whatever it is, if somebody called me up at the last minute and say, hey, I got a ticket to the ball game tonight, Cubs preferably, not the White Sox, but I could say, hey, sweetie, I got a ticket to the ball game. Is it okay if I go? If I'm a 10, you betcha. It's easy to pull that off. If I'm a 7, not so much. And it's very, very powerful, very useful, and you can implement it today everywhere with all your relationships. You go do those things and you watch that relationship go right through the roof. All right. I love you guys. Keep up the great work. Remember, you can lead with love, and that's what this is all about.